course, they're hating on Brad Sweet. Look at him. Look at him. Not even a smirk. A perfect smile. Casey Kane, Napa Auto Parts. Grass and the Valley. 7 wins, 22 podiums, 31 top fives, 40 top tens. Average finish of 5th. Points with 4 to go. He's 258 above them all. They still have their little battle for the top 5 in the championship. And they also still have the battle for the midweek money series. That was in the conversation right here. The midweek money series is still up for grabs. Tyler Courtney currently is the points leader of the midnight money series. Brad Sweet only 16 points behind. Corey Day 43. I mean, do we want to talk about Corey Day? I mean, should he come back to sprint car racing? I see when he struggles in ARCA in these trucks, he's really just bored out there. You saw him overdriving the car at Kansas. Honestly, it's not that he can't drive or David Gravel would have did better. He's just sitting out there, and after 10 or 15 laps, he's like, this is the boringest shit ever. So he starts overdriving the car, trying to add excitement to his life. I literally think he's questioning life decisions. He's sitting there, he's like, this is what Chaz was talking about. This is what David was telling me. This is what probably Kyle, all the jokes about Kyle just bored racing those cars and having to race dirt all the chances he can. This is why I'm so bored out of my mind going straight down this straightaway and not really racing. I think that's what's happening to Corey Day in this NASCAR thing. He's just bored out of his mind. And this is what happens. This is what happens. That's why they consider it's for the money. It's for the money. It's the job. You know, a job is something you go and do that you really don't want to do. I call it modern slavery. And you do it for the money. That's the whip that keeps you in line to continue to do it. It's just a mental whip. This is the trade-off. It's kind of like the sprint car is the man you really love and want to be with forever. But the NASCAR route is the old man with the yacht and the $1 million house. I don't really love him, but if I do this, I'm going to have a really nice life. When you add the love aspect and the relationship aspect, it is pretty sad. Pretty sad. Pretty sad. There's actually a tear. That sounded so sad. And this is how I view it. This is why I want sprint car racing to get bigger and everything like that, so that these people don't have to make these choices in life. We just need the guy who she really loves needs to find a way to be bigger and better, so that's an equal relationship, I guess. That's the only option we got here, guys. I mean, it's the only option we got. They're going to keep on going for the money and the man and the yacht and the house and the car and the clothes. That's all it is to go to NASCAR. It's not personal enjoyment, I don't think, personally. I think he's bored out of his mind. But regardless, the midweek money series is still up for grabs. Corey Day's mixed in there. Spencer Baston. Speaking of midget, guys, he's finally catching up to the top 4 or 5 in the 1B series of High Limit. We still consider 1B, right? The High Limit's still a 1B series, correct? I mean, is it not? Is it not? I mean, you do have these assholes in here. John Sullivan saying, it doesn't sound as cool as 6 World of Outlaw Championship. Wow. They're saying it. Rick Fritz says, yeah. Well, says you. Here comes the Kyle Larson fans. Well, up till last night, Brian Childs. Oh, my. We got to stay off the dark web of the scenario with that last name. Well, up till last year, the World of Outlaws was the most elite title. But this is a new year. And now we have High Limit. High Limit has proven it's right there with the World of Outlaws. And in all honesty, they have had better field of drivers throughout the year. These are just Kyle Larson fans, in my opinion. But we probably still consider the World of Outlaws the 1A. We would slot High Limit into 1B. I think Brad would say that. But Brad's sticking to his own. Brad is sticking to those who have supported him, And I've said it multiple times, and I still think it's true. Those who have kept up with the shows and everything that happened during the whole High Limit midweek series and even the Knoxville Nationals owners meeting a few years ago and all that. I am a firm believer, 100% believe this. when High Limit started those midweek series events, and they were just going to do 12, I am a firm believer that even though potentially Flo had this scheme, or Kyle or his NASCAR buddies had this scheme of, splitting up sprint car racing because it was a rising threat, and they wanted, maybe Flo wanted a national series to rival like they do in the late model world with Lucas Oil and the World of Outlaws, Dirt Vision versus Flo, the streaming wars, the companies, all this stuff, the actual clinching for the pinnacle of the sport. I think that Brad Sweet saw the opportunity of just potentially adding in some more races to where people could race for more money, wanted to kind of be an add-on for the World of Outlaws in this midweek series schedule that went along with the World of Outlaws schedule, and that's what it was in its opening year. But I think, personally, that since the World of Outlaws weren't as open, weren't as handshaking to this idea, who knows why, I think that is why this national series even was created, because of the rejection that it faced from the powers that be in the World Racing Group. That's what I think. Don't know for a fact, but I think that's why. I think if it was openly armed, accepted, and all the drivers could have ran the 12 events that was scheduled, and I think it would have I think right now, this High Limit series would be a 12-week midweek series that bounced around the World of Outlaws series schedule. I think that's what would happen. I think that was the intent of Brad Sweet. Was it the intent of Flo? Was it the intent of Kyle? Was it the intent of NASCAR? I don't know. I would lean towards the other side of wanting to debacle the platform because of its rise in strength and popularity. NASCAR learned that with the IndyCar series. That's how they kind of rose. The split between IRL and CART was a very, splitting of the Red Sea in Moses. It led them to the top of the motorsports industry in America. So they've done this plan before. They know what it needs and what has to happen to protect assets. But I don't think that was the case for Brad Sweet. And Brad Sweet, due to the support from Flo and from Kyle, stuck to his guns. He took care of his own in this situation. He was kind of like the taxpayer with ideas, and Flo and Kyle was the government with the ability, and they all worked together to support one another, and he stayed with his country and patriotism. But not to pirouette off the subject, can we actually say that about our country right now? Can we? When we got this hurricane situation that just happened, first of all, I want to say great championship. Congratulations to the loyalty. I may be at I-70. We will see. We are going to change subjects here. I may be at I-70. I may be rolling all the way down to Texas. We got to see how it's going. We got to see. I'm not going to get in a 45-minute debacle on how Brad Sweet and High Limit and World Outlaws are this big thing and blah, 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 blah. The triangle is going to be the triangle. The trio will exist. But we're talking about another trio now, because at least he was loyal to the people that got him to where he is. Maybe he wanted that 6th championship, but he didn't go for it. He went where he created a new relationship and partnership with those who supported ideas and thoughts.